All right, welcome back to another episode of Are You Not Entertained Podcast. And these are today's agenda. Netflix buys Warner Brother, supposedly. Cyberpunk 2 is announced. Destiny 3 rumors. Marvel Cosmic Invasion impressions. And Metroid Prime 4 first impressions. But let's get straight into the biggest news of the week. And that is Netflix is to acquire Warner Brothers in a deal worth $82.7 billion. Okay, so reportedly, allegedly, supposedly, this is confirmed. We'll get into some why that's still up in the air later. Netflix has acquired Warner Brothers for, $82.7 billion, one of the largest media mergers ever, bigger than Disney and Fox when they were merged. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought Disney and Fox would have been bigger. But hey, what does this mean? Netflix is no longer just a streamer. It is now a full Hollywood mega studio, film, TV, gaming, animation, IP, all under one roof. Immediate reaction angles. The streaming wars are officially over. This just rewrites the entire entertainment industry overnight. If this deal was to go through, what exactly is Netflix getting besides the massive debt that Warner Brothers has? Well, movie franchises include the DC Universe, Wizarding World, Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, Hogwarts Legacy universe. They have Doom, The Matrix, Godzilla in the Monster Universe, Madman, Blade Runner. Legacy and family IPs include Scooby-Doo, Looney Tunes, Lego movies, The Conjuring universe, Space Jams, to name a few. And HBO, Prestige TV and global networks include some HBO originals, Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, The Last of Us, Emporia, however you pronounce that, The Sopranos, The Wire, Succession, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Major networks include HBO, CNN, TBS, TNT, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Discovery Channel, TLC, Animal Planet. Oh, I love me some Animal Planet. Food Network, HGTV. I do love Food Network at one point. Some of the Warner Brother games include Mortal Kombat, Hogwarts Legacy, DC Video Games, Rocksteady, Warner Brothers San Diego, and Warner Brothers Montreal, meaning Netflix exclusive games become realistic. DC Gaming plus Film Universe merge. Harry Potter live service actions games. I'm sorry. Mortal Kombat tied to Netflix film animation. Warner Brothers got a huge amount of content going back 100 plus years. Warner Brothers is one of the first major success movie studios there were. Classic cartoons, reality TV archives, global syndication rights, and international licensing. Now, I think one of the biggest factors in this deal is Warner Brothers real estate, studios, and production line. Netflix would stand to gain Warner Brothers Studios, global production facility, sound stages, backlot cities, international TV production arms. I think that is like the main thing. They want them movie studios that Warner Brothers has, because that can really help them push out their Netflix content and have a quicker turnaround. Revenue streams. Netflix will add box office revenue, global TV revenue, cable network, and ad revenue, merchandising for all its franchises, game sales, live events, licensings, and syndications, blah blah blah, just a bunch of word salad. So Netflix is, that's a lot. And not to mention that they will have HBO Max and a Discovery Plus underneath their umbrella. Now, a lot of people are making kind of like predictions that they will shut down HBO Max and Discovery Plus. I mean, I don't really see that. And if they do that, I think that's years away. It takes a lot to have HBO Max customers and Discovery Plus customers realize, oh, this is a thing, and then realize, hey, I have to go watch this on another platform. So even if they do transitions, I think that's years in the making. It takes them years to really, just like Crunchyroll and Funimation. It took them a good minute to shut down Funimation. And don't get me started, because the Funimation app had way better content than Crunchyroll still to this day, but that's a topic for a different story. A lot of people are questioning what's going to happen in the meantime. Like, James Gunn, is his position safe? I don't think so. A lot of the movies were expected to have sequels, like the latest Batman, and we all know certain shows like Peacemaker got canceled, but they're in the middle of making good content right now, like the Welcome to Diary series on HBO Max. There's a lot of stuff that's supposed to get another sequel, so what what's going to happen to it. I think Netflix is going to maintain whatever is making money, and whatever is bleeding money is going to get cut. And there might be some jobs involved in that, but when these mergers happen, there's usually somebody that gets the short end of the stick, and that's most of the time the workers if you're not behind a successful product. Now, that pretty much wraps up the major, what they're going to get from the deal, but I also put out there that this deal, it says confirmed, but it's still up in the air whether Netflix actually won because they were in a bidding process. It is reported that Netflix came out the winner with the 82.7 billion, but from what I'm reading, Paramount Plus is trying to make a final last push to win the bid or do a hostile takeover. I don't know how you do a hostile takeover when you're in a bidding process. So reportedly, they're trying to give Warner Brothers $30 per share, where Netflix gave them 27 point something per share. So a little above. They saying that they'll bring in more cash offer than Netflix has. Listen, I think if I had to choose between Netflix buying them, well, ultimately, I wish Apple would have bought them. I would have thought that would have made sense for them, but whatever. Apple does what Apple does, and maybe because they're in the middle, they know their CEO is stepping down. Maybe they don't want to get entangled with something like this. Out of Netflix and Paramount Plus, I'm definitely going to go with Netflix, even though they have that stupid thing where you have to check in like once a month to make sure no one out of your household is watching your account. I mean, there's a way around that, but I'm not going to just blast it here on the internet. And I don't want that for HBO Max. Like, I do share HBO Max with my cousin. So if they start doing that, that's really going to irritate me because I'm going to have to do a workaround to watch HBO Max. But I just don't believe in Paramount Plus just because their streaming app is horrendous and it's been out for years. The fact that it still stutters, it still like crashes out. I no. I'd rather Paramount Plus focus on their own shit, fix their own shit before they start buying something else. Like fix your own family first before you start trying to extend the family out per se. But yeah, that's all the major talking points that's out right now. There's a lot of people talking on the internet, and it was shocking when this news came out because it was kind of quick. First, it was allegedly, that was the bid, and then shortly after that, they said, "Oh, it's confirmed they're the winners." So it happened kind of fast. When we reported this a couple weeks ago, I wouldn't have predicted that Netflix would have won a bid, but supposedly Netflix is worth $500 billion, so they got some money. they some big dogs in the race. So, what do you think about this news, Infamous?
It's a lot. It is a lot to take in. It is a lot of moving pieces going around. Because I remember when we did report on this, it was Paramount that put a bid in and it was rejected, if I remember correctly, how we reported it. And what was going to happen this week was that the news going around town was Netflix had put up a huge price bid for us. I'm like, oh, and I didn't know Netflix was rolling the dough like that. I mean, after all these years, they finally turned that ship around, being out of the red into the black. But it is confirmed by Netflix that they have quote unquote acquired it, even though I feel like that's a little bit of false advertisement, because it also came from them saying that it will take until the end of the third quarter of 2026 for this to even go through and be finalized. So it's like, are you really, should the word really be used saying acquired? Maybe it should be more of a, we've accepted, your offer, and then looking at the terms. Not to be redundant, but going on what my cousin said, yes, Paramount is trying to do a hostile bid of saying like, hey, we'll top that. And it's absurd that either one of these companies have this kind of money to throw around. And it almost seems like Paramount is just trying to overpay, just get their hands on it, which I have to agree. I would kind of Netflix to get it, because if Paramount has that much money, they're not putting it in the right place. It's horrendous. It takes 10 minutes to get to something, let alone start watching it. Now, if they have this type of money and this type of catalog prowess, then okay, go ahead. I do agree with that whole the workaround Netflix thing. I didn't know about that. That's a problem. And that is true. If Netflix gets it, HBO, that might be a problem, because we watch HBO hassle-free. But what I was going to say was, for them to take on this amount of and blow this amount of money, they have to be super, super confident. And you were saying that you wanted Apple to buy it, which I did think about it because I'm like, Apple probably is the better out of any of the suitors. They got the most cash on hand, but then again, they probably like, hey, we don't want to take on that type of debt. We don't have debt. We make money, so I can somewhat understand that. But then at the same time, too, this goes on to what's been going on in the entertainment industry as a whole: consolidation. Every company that has been gobbled up, bought up, outbid, bought outright, whatnot, it has always come to the detrimental side of the consumer. People are reporting that if this does go through, yeah, there'll be some redundancies. Some people probably will lose their jobs. I mean, you don't need two content creators or directors or whatever in both studios. One would get let go, yes, but also them taking on this heavy burden, this 82. I'm not gonna say this. We're just gonna round it off. This $83 billion. Yeah, some people are gonna lose their job. They're gonna they're gonna trim the fat. They're gonna do everything, but also they're probably gonna raise prices. Netflix has notoriously since its inception has risen the prices, and to some they'll say, well, they use that money to give you a higher quality and more of their content since everyone keeps taking content off of this. And to some degree, it's like, okay, but at the same time, a good chunk amount of them Netflix originals, they kind of just ass. They kind of just ask. I'm just gonna say it. It is very, maybe alarming is probably the wrong word, but it's very that Warner Brothers, one of them founding staples of cinema film in this country, is being bought out by the youngest entertainment streaming service and has the money to outbid Paramount and others. Well, Sony and I believe Apple had came out and said they weren't interested. So, but I do find it alarming, more consolidation in the industry, because it's gonna hurt us in the long run. I promise you. Give it a year if the deal goes through. I'm gonna say if, because there's still wiggle room. There's still time for Paramount to do whatever. There's still time for government entities to step in and be like, this is too big of a merger in a sense. Not to harp around old news, but the Microsoft and Activision Blizzard deal. Look how that has gone and bit consumers in the ass from all the FTC warnings about like, yo, what they were going to do, and they swore they wouldn't, and they did. So now I'm sure government regulators will look more into this, like, yo, should you all have all of this? Yo, break this up into whatever pieces it needs to be. You get what you need, and let someone else go and buy it. But this is a win for AT&T because they have had a tremendous amount of debt that they have just not been able to clear and or get through. And Netflix, as far as I know, has been in the black and is very, very successful. But my also concern is, what does this do for the DC properties as far as the so-called James Gunn universe, who was they're supposed to be their crowning jewel savior to help them with Marvel? Analysts are saying he may be on the chopping block if this goes through. What's going to happen with the sequel to the Batman movie? Supposedly that's supposed to take place weeks after the Penguin show. Will there be another season of the Penguin show? Because, baby, Netflix is also notorious for, if a show does not just have the ratings, the viewership, the numbers of it wants, whether it be the first day, the first week, the first month, axed. Plain and simple. Not another chance. Which is sad to say because I do love DC. I'm more of a DC fan than Marvel. Shame me, whatever. But it's interesting. The amount of money for this being sold is highly interesting. Because I don't know if we talked about it, but I swore they would piecemeal this, get this across the board, because we were never disclosed what Paramount's initial bid was that got rejected. But people may not remember this. Years ago, AT&T tried this before. And if I remember correctly, I believe PlayStation bidded somewhere between maybe 5 to 6 billion. That was shut down. There was another player in the hand, I think it was upwards of 10 billion. I don't remember if it was Warner Brothers as a whole or if it was just the gaming division itself. But now everything is up for grabs and everything's being taken off the market. I am interested to see how this plays out, but at the same time, I'm just gonna flat out say it. I kind of don't want this merger to go through. Consolidation across the board has just been bad. HBO has recently raised their prices. Hulu has recently raised their prices. Disney has recently raised their prices. The only way the consumer comes out on top is if you take this weird bundle thing they have with this going together. Like I said, Netflix raised their prices. So if they get this on hand, trust and believe, more fat will be trimmed. They're going to close, they're going to lay off, and they're going to raise. Netflix is almost $30. That's damn near Game Pass prices. And then my last final point, or a question I should say, what would Netflix even do with all that gaming division? What would they do with Avalanche? What would they do with Rocksteady, who is supposedly going back to working on another cut and dry Batman game? Any of their properties, the Harry Potter games, there was supposed to be a sequel coming to that because the first one made so much money, it outdid Call of Duty the year it comes out. Netflix is not huge into gaming like that. They do the small little mobile stuff that you play on your smart TV and etc., and they go from there. It's almost a little bit of they're biting more than they can chew just to get their hands on what they truly want, and then everything else will be kind kind of a little bit of an afterthought, but we have tons of time to see where this goes. Like I said, it was already reported damn near the end of next year to see where this goes. But I am truly, truly more interested in how governing bodies slash regulators, what is their argument on how they step in on this? Because the FTC warned about this the last one, and no one paid attention. Look what happened. So that's where I stand on this.
Yeah, so I'm not even about to play these games about the government entities. Whoever get their pockets laced is gonna let this deal go through. So let's not even play games. That shit is
Oh
not
yeah,
that
good
has
point.
no integrity. So let's not even waste our brain power trying to see, oh, if this is gonna pass government, fucking Netflix laces the right people with money, they'll push whatever through. And two, I'm a little curious in why you say consolidation is bad because in this case, Warner Brothers is looking at bankruptcy, which was going to strip them and probably have it sold off to whoever individually, which probably would be worse for all the IPs that's in like this little gray area limbo. So I don't really see this as a bad idea. Yeah, I feel like if Warner Brothers would have went to bankruptcy, everybody would have lost their job. The amount of money and the amount of things that they have still in production would have all been wiped. At least with this Netflix, they're going to keep, like I said, they're going to keep the things that's making money. If your shit's not making money, then you don't need to continue, honestly, unless, I mean, not saying you can't turn it around, but I'm not going to fund shit that's not going to make money or at least cover costs at minimum. And you can't expect these businesses in 2025 with everything we've been reporting about how they look at the pocketbook and expect them to take L's. These businesses are in the business to make money. So if your show didn't make money, James Gunn, if your Superman didn't make the money it needed to, then you're gone. And I'm not going to blame a business for doing that because at the end of the day, these businesses have X amount of employees they got to pay. Yeah, maybe they CEO gets a fucking Bugatti and all that. But I'm talking about the little guy that's in the back room that needs this job and needs this business to continue to make money to fund their fucking family. Hey, it's gonna be real unfortunate for those who do lose their job because of this merger. But my thing is, everybody would have lost their job if Warner Brothers would have went to bankruptcy. Everybody. So I mean, I know I make that joke about less evil and big evil is still evil. But hey, at least it probably saves the most amount of people's jobs in the end. So I'm real youth making that note that mergers are bad. I think in 2025 going forward, as the financial situation worse, it's either gonna get worse or maybe maintain. A lot of business is gonna be facing bankruptcy and getting their shit stripped from them, or hey, let me go get saved by another bigger company that is finding a way to make money. I don't think you can just down talk about mergers being bad because that's a loaded statement. These businesses are struggling to continue to make payments on their loans, their debts, and I'm real curious in the fact that how would Netflix or Paramount Plus handle the amount of debt that they're going to assume when this merger is finalized? Like, what is their way? Because obviously Warner Brother been trying for years and has failed. So what are you going to do different? Because we could be talking about Netflix in this situation because of this debt in 5 to 6 years. I don't think mergers are bad. I just think it's these companies get hit with a hard pill to swallow. Like, hey, we just can't make the payments this month for all the debt, and it's either we keep laying off to the point there's nobody to fill the office building, or we go to bankruptcy, or we get bought out. And I think being bought out is the most less evil thing you can do because at least it saves some jobs, it saves some IPs. Because what you don't want is Warner Brothers going to bankruptcy. I can tell you that right now. You don't want that, and Warner Brothers won't be the first. It won't be the last facing the pressure of all the debt that they're consuming from year to year to year, from project to project to project. I mean, we even reported, even though the Hardworks legacy game did good, it wasn't enough to make a dent in the debt that Warner Brothers had. So it's just
It
Warner
wasn't.
Brothers was just like, okay, that's cool. Even in the latest Batman, they were like, okay, that's cool. They looked at James Gunn's Superman like, that's not enough. I just think mergers are a way of life. I listen, the government shit complaining. That means either you gonna let this merge go through, or you gonna give Warner Brothers a balloon payment so they don't have to get sold and they can make their payments. Because like we reported, loan or debtor people wasn't going to give Warner Brothers any more money. And when banks and funding agencies say, hey, you're cut off, it's a wrap. It's either go to bankruptcy or get sold. Like that was their only option. So unless the government is going, and they do help people like merge to make it a couple more years. They did that with the Boeing airline. They gave them, I think, billions of dollars so they can keep their head afloat during that whole time when the planes was coming down tragically. I don't think the US government right now would do that for Warner Brothers because they don't really have that much interest in Warner Brothers. If you don't know, Boeing is very much tied to I'm not going to go all finances on y'all, but anyway, yeah, the government has a lot of interest in Boeing making it for the rest of its lifespan. But yeah, I think it's inevitable. I think this is going to continue to happen because a lot of people are looking at the books like, hey, this being in the red, we listen, no. And Warner Brothers already did rounds of layoffs, so they have already tried to save themselves. So I think it's inevitable. Mergers are going to, and consolidation is going to continue to happen. Now I know we said competitors make shit good. I think. Listen, you're just gonna have to. I mean, there's still players in the game, like Netflix and Disney Plus is. It's still players in the game. So I don't think these two merging is really going to like lessen the competition because the competition is getting the most eyeballs. So Netflix is still going to be like, hey, we got to make this shit work. We got to do the best we can. Yeah, they fucked up some live action interpretations of anime, but still they're trying. And at the end of the day, if a company is trying, I think we just gotta see what happens.
Yeah, you make a good compelling point. What is also interesting, it slipped my mind, was it was reported that this purchase of Warner Brothers, it is just Warner Brothers. Discovery is separated from this deal, and I know that is one of the. I think you
That's
had
what
told me
holds
when
the
we
debt.
reported. Yeah, that's where most of the debt came from, and that they were holding. So it does ask a question. Well, Paramount, you want to overpay another $3 a share? What differently can or would you do? And
Hmm.
then I'm gonna admit, I'm confused because I didn't know Paramount, a big player like this in a sense. When the Paramount app came out, I just thought nothing of it.
Yeah,
And
because it was
then
so
hearing,
crappy.
yeah, and then hearing, they're a mover and a shaker like this, to where they're like, yo, no, no, no. They're almost trying to Comcast their way into this, as Comcast tried to weasel their way into the Disney Fox deal. Now I know Comcast has money. I mean, that's one of the main internet providers slash cable companies in the country.
Hmm.
So I hear you on that. Like what makes you so different and etc. But like I said, we have a good amount of time to see how
Yeah,
this rolls and plays out. I do believe competition does drive innovation and it only helps consumer, but this will take a key figure off the board for
but
Netflix because to me,
well, yeah, they did have
they ran the
HBO.
numbers, and Netflix has the highest, most subscribers. I believe next to them or
Allegedly.
under them, allegedly. Yeah, yeah, allegedly. For someone comes at me in the comments, I
Like,
believe next. Yeah, what are you talking about? Did you not do your research? I believe the next biggest players after them it's HBO, and it was someone else, I can't remember. Disney's at the bottom as far as content
Well,
wise
is
and
that
subscribers.
is
You don't
that
know Disney.
is that before the Hulu merger thing they're doing or after? Because they're
That's
combining the apps now.
Okay, ooh, good question. I'm gonna retract my statement. We'll come back to this. This will be like a side edit video, but continue. I have nothing else to say.
Like, yeah, but like my cousin said, we got a while. Paramount could pull something out the head. I mean, from a quick Google, they're only worth $7.4 billion. So, I mean, whereas Netflix is worth almost $500 billion, their current stocks is trading at $11. So, it's not the most money flowing swimming company. And that actually is a big reflection of probably why the app is so trash. Is because I mean they're only worth, like, I say only, but $7 billion and compare Netflix. I don't know. I don't think Paramount is gonna. Look, if anything, they're trying to make an eBay situation happen where somebody's already at the top. They know they got the most amount of money, and here's somebody who really ain't got that much money, but just driving up the price to be an asshole. So
Okay. I got it right here. So even though Paramount is trying to hostile bid or get in on it, I believe Netflix's offer is cash on hand. Paramount is cash, options, and various
mhm,
others leverages to
a
get
lot of
that
word
price
salad.
across. Yeah, to get that price across the board. So they're grasping that straw. They want something, and they probably should be like, hey, chill out, back out. You don't need this. But
Yeah.
as my cousin was saying,
Honestly, if I was Warner Brothers, I'm picking Netflix because they're more financially
stable.
stable. Yeah, they got a lot. I feel because what I read, Netflix wouldn't own 100% of the company. Somebody in Warner Bros. Will still have some type of ownership, and I think in that case, you got to tie yourself to the more successful company, which would be Netflix. But we'll see
Mm-hmm.
what happens. Still a long time before this is finalized and do something. Who knows? Who knows? Anything is possible. But
Ugh.
Punk 2 officially announced. Now, I had to hit the group
Ugh.
chat because sent the screenshot to the group chat, and I was like, "What?" And our friend was like, "Some, yeah, yeah, yeah." And I was just like, "Listen, I'm gonna just tell you up front how Cyberpunk the first one launched. I thought CD Projekt Red would never go back to Cyberpunk again, just because it was such a brand damaging launch, and they spent so much time and effort and money to bring it up to a somewhat standard that they promised. I didn't think we was gonna get it to. Cyberpunk 1 made them run to the back to the Witcher series, which the Witcher 3 games over 6 years is just crazy. I hope that's not true. But yeah, what did you make about the Cyberpunk 2 being quote unquote allegedly officially confirmed?
So I ain't gonna lie. And just like how you just announced it, and I'm ugh now. The
Mind
announcement.
you, you have a console with the cyberpunk theme. You
Oh
got a
yeah. So
cyberpunk
real
theme
quick.
controller.
Hold on. I got you. So real quick, full transparency. I believed in the hype of the original Cyberpunk. The
Yeah.
marketing, all of it. I was fully on board. As my cousin like to say, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was
Mm.
all in on it. So much so that I bought the Xbox One X Cyberpunk
Yes.
edition. I bought
Yeah.
it just for
Mhm.
that fucking game to come out and be so subpar, so lacking that you had to have the next gen console to play it properly. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Years. It took years for them to bring Cyberpunk in a stable mindset with consumers and gameplay. And then even when they turned the ship around with their 2.0 update, oh, we're done. This is the best it can be. They kept coming back. And I felt the same way that these motherfuckers was like, hey, we done. Because they didn't say shit about Cyberpunk for the longest. They was talking
Yeah.
about we're not gonna do expansions like we did with Witcher. We're gonna do one and bounce out. So I was like, oh, you're gonna go back to The Witcher because last I checked, The Witcher 3 was it. Geralt was done. We're moving on to bigger, better things. Now here you all come about, oh yeah, Witcher 4. We can tell more
Yeah.
stories. All right.
Yeah, they
Now
come back to old faithful.
yeah, now y'all talking about Cyberpunk 2, and they toting the same word bullshit they was talking about on the first one. They already said that the game will have first and third person options. You fool me once, you ain't fool me again. Y'all said that with Cyberpunk 1, just for at the 11th hour to change it out. I'm gonna slow my brakes. Pump brakes real quick because I know there's gonna be people in the comments. You didn't give it a chance. They turned it around.
Hey,
etc. etc.
I
Hey, look here.
listen. Let me just
Games are
say, my
70,
cousin gave it a chance
right.
to
I'm
where
telling you
I
right now,
didn't.
games are 70 doll hairs these days. And while I'm not gonna say I sympathize and I understand, I'd just be lying. I don't understand you all. Even though it came out and they fixed it, it should have been fixed when it came out. I don't
Wait,
understand why
before it
consumers
came
are
out?
willing to. I'm sorry, it should have been fixed when it came out. I don't understand why consumers are so quick to forgive and give such leniency with this medium. Because let you go to a movie and pay $20, $25 a ticket, and a quarter way into the film, it started messing up, and they were like, hey, my God, they having technical difficulties. Hey, come back next week. We'll get this fixed for you. You're like, what? The fuck you talking about? But when it comes to games and a game launch broken, oh, they'll fix it in a couple months. No, that is unacceptable, and people should hold these companies accountable. Now, yes, I'll let you know right now, I know my wallet is way more laxed than my cousin's. I buy a lot of shit. My cousin, she is very apprehensive, and Cyberpunk was the last straw that has made me feel I'll even be even more fully transparent. Not only did I buy that console, bought the fucking collection edition as well. So I'm in this game for hundreds of dollars. What I felt was they have come out with a few tidbits of what they plan to do with this game, what they've learned from their mistakes of the first one. We didn't been around this block before and heard all this. It's just been announced. Ain't no telling whether this is in pre-production, full production, or they just talking. But I'm letting you know right now, a piece of me just don't care. I have no faith. There's been other reports coming out of CD Projekt where they're talking about they have ditched their Red engine and going full on Unreal Engine 5. They're talking about they're masters of it. I'm like, how are you a master of it? This is your first time using this engine to make a game. How are you a master at it? And then they're also giving a promise talking about when they launch The Witcher 4, they plan to have 4, 5, and 6, 3 games launch and come out within a 6-year time span. We're talking about when games have 5+ year developments for just one. And they're making a bold promise like that. So that either means you all are talking out of your ass, or here comes the dreaded term. They're using AI to help and assist. I ain't got no faith. I don't want to hear this. Show me. I'm in the I'm in the show me phase
In the
because they
show me
promised
era.
third person. They promised third person for Cyberpunk 2. That was the only fucking reason I was buying it. And by the time they pulled the rug on, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be first person. I couldn't cancel it. It was already paid for. I had to let it come. And I was like, well, Infamous, you play first person shooters. You play first person games. Give it a try. It was a really bad try. I'm gonna stop it there. I can smell that comment section about to light my ass up. How dare you? It may have launched bad, but they truly turned around. Did you not play Phantom Liberty? Idris Alba. They've done more for that game, just like No Man's Sky. And even with that,
But
No Man's Sky shouldn't have launched how it launched.
yeah,
But my
like
rant is over. I'm handing it over to my cousin. Trees, how you feel about this?
I mean, listen, I can say my cousin gave this game a honest try to where I probably did. Cause once it launched and I was struggling to get through the goddamn tutorial and shit was floating and disappearing, I never went back. I'm a jaded soul. I'm very pessimistic. And fortunately this was a game, like my cousin said, he paid for. So I didn't feel that sting when I said, you know what, fuck this game. I'm not going back. And it took them a while. I mean, I did hear and see when they was like, "Oh, it's stable and all that," and I was just like, I'm good. Yeah, that's just I don't know. Listen, but let me just go through the tea leaves. Cyberpunk 2 is real and confirmed, officially announced by CD Projekt Red. Currently in early development, which can mean anything. Being led by new CD Projekt Red studio in North America, which is Boston and in Vancouver. I didn't know that. Important: no trailer, no release date, no gameplay yet. This is a long-term project not coming soon. Why is this a
Mm,
huge deal?
mm,
Cyber 2077 had one of the worst AAA launches ever. Massive refunds,
mhm,
lawsuits. Sony
mhm,
temporarily removed it from the PlayStation Store, but the
mhm,
game made quote unquote a massive comeback. Phantom Liberty expansion was a major success. Players' trust started to return. Listen, Cyberpunk went from industry embarrassment to full redemption. That's up for
mm.
debate. What is
That's bold claim. Bold
yeah,
claim, but go ahead.
like my cousin said, switching to Unreal Engine 5, moving away from their old Red engine, building a brand new development pipeline, new leadership team handling the sequel, meaning better performance, faster development, and fewer launch disasters? Question mark, question mark. What fans expect from Cyberpunk 2, a fully finished game at launch. I mean, that's every fan expect that from a fucking game, okay?
We have to say that out loud? We really gotta
Deeper
say that?
Deeper RPG system, smarter AI and police system, bigger and more alive Night City, choices that actually matter, no broken console versions at release. What's the realistic timeline for this game? They're saying 2028 to 2030. CG Projekt Red is currently focused on the next Witcher saga. Cyberpunk sequel is still, in early development, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is where I might just end. And I'm just going to say, Cyberpunk 2 is officially real. I mean, I fact checked it. Now CJ Project Red has a big shot to prove the redemption story wasn't a fluke when they went back and took the time to fix the first one. Their redemption is launching a complete an unbroken game this time. Not, oh yeah, we're gonna go back and fix it because we made this promise. No, do it at launch. I don't want to hear about no shit fucking up when when the sequels come out. Cause a lot of people are like me that didn't go back. I know a lot of people was just like, yo, fuck this game. They forever don't have trust. This could be a real redemption. I don't think you get a redemption for fixing the game that you promised that wouldn't be that way up to a certain standard. That's not a redemption. Now, this one, if they did it right and it comes out right, cool. All right. City is probably back in okay graces with me. But, I am very nervous about that whole Witcher statement that came out. I don't know if we fact checked that or not. That's allegedly. I'll just say allegedly. But 3 Witcher games in the span of 6 years just doesn't sound right. And I know a lot of people are always get all in their panties when a game company says AI. Listen, they're all doing it one way or another. They're using AI for something. Now, if they do it to the
Yeah,
point
let
where
it
the
go.
consumer, yeah, if they can do it to the point where the consumer can't tell or really can't point out like AI did that, then cool, by all means, do you boo boo. But I think for them to be pushing out 3 Witcher games in 6 years, AI is heavily involved in that. That's all I got. Listen, we'll wait and see. I'm pessimistic. I'm not buying this. I mean, if my cousin buy it, then cool, I'll play it, but I'm not going out of my way to buy the sequel. Like, I'm jaded. I'm pessimistic. Yeah, it takes a lot for me to go back after being burnt by a game in a game studio. I mean, they'll get me on The Witcher just because The Witcher was a great fucking game. Cyberpunk? Nah, I'm cool unless my cousin buy it. But that's all I got.
Oh,
Another one.
oh,
Another one. Destiny 3 rumors surge. Okay, so let's go through this tea leaves. Destiny 3 has not been officially confirmed. Bungie has reportedly stated that they are not actively developing Destiny 3. Current focus on Destiny 2 long-term future and marathon. Multiple credible insider says Destiny 3 is not in full production as of yet. If it exists, it's only in early conceptions discussions. Now, if you
that's a
know about
contradiction.
gaming, no, but you know how in gaming development, first they throw around random ideas like, "Ooh, we could do this," or "Maybe we could do this," or "Ooh, we can do this," but there's no real money dedicated to the development of the idea yet. And then, they say something, they pitch it, and then they start getting money to develop their idea. So maybe that's where it's at. Like, yeah, people are talking about it possibly, but maybe Bungie haven't dedicated money to the development of that idea. But these are all rumors. Destiny 2 is hitting player fatigue. I feel like they've been in player fatigue for years, and seasonal burnout. Bungie layoffs in 2023, 2024 raised red flags. Sony now fully owns Bungie. Fans believe Destiny 2 engine is at its limits. The saga feels like it's approaching a natural reset. What Destiny 3 could change? I mean, a full engine reset, next gen only design, fresh player onboarding, new subclass and combat systems, completely new loot economy, Destiny without sunsetting trauma, 10 plus year of legacy systems holding it back. Why Bungie is a big question mark right now. Reputation damage from content vetting, monetization backlash, missed
Oh
expectations,
yeah,
and
oh yeah.
recent expansions. Community trust is shaky at best. Marathon is Bungie's current top priority. I don't know about that one. Realistic timeline. If Destiny 3 is real, earliest possible release is once again 2028 to 2030. Nothing close to reveal ready right now. Big debate. Should Bungie end Destiny 2 and reboot with Destiny 3 or keep Destiny 2 evolving forever, more like a Fortnite situation? Destiny 3 could save the franchise, but right now it exists only in rumors and wishful thinking. So that is all the tea leaves for Destiny 3. I don't think you can fix what's currently wrong with a Destiny 3. I feel like they kind of rushed Destiny 2 because I remember we played Destiny when it first came out. Okay, yeah, I just remember it feeling empty, like it was a lot of stuff missing, and I got bored of it really, really fast when it first came out. And once again, I never went back
Well,
once we were done with it.
I'm tell you right now, someone's gonna come at us for what you just said. Well, you played it when it came out. There's so much
But
better
but
now.
but but I
You
gave
added
them
so much. How dare
listen,
you say
me
that?
saying I didn't go back because I'm jaded and I'm pessimistic is that like allegedly when you break news, okay? It could have got better. I don't know because once I am like bored and there's nothing to do for a long period of times, I got other stuff to play. I'm not going back. And I'm already don't like live service S games as it is. So there was so much stacked against this game, well, Destiny 2, when it came out that I already didn't like, but I played because my cousin wanted to play it. Listen, I can walk away. Maybe that's a error on my personality, but baby, I can walk away from some shit real quick and not come back. And that's something live service games struggle with. Like some people play it and then they never come back to it. Like they always have to drop something to keep them wanting to come back. And that is a struggle with live service games. And I'm not the only one that does that. So whatever. Fuck it. I said what I said.
I'll make this as easy as possible. I'm not a fan of Destiny and the idea of it. And before anybody comes at me, I can wholeheartedly say I gave Destiny a try. I bought the first and the second damn game. And it's from buying these games that I've learned live service is not for me. It's not at least not how they do it. Not how you sell me a damn near empty product and I am to wait as you drip feed content to me over the course of years just to satiate the gameplay. I know some people defend it. Well, they've added this, they added that. Why? And this is from a company that has, during GDC talks, it said, hey, do not give too much content or do not over deliver on your games because then people expect you to keep doing that. They have came out and said that. I do not want to play a game where I have to wait months at a time for them to get their act right. Now, we all know the infamous story of the first Destiny. Some people left at the 11th hour, they scrapped everything they had worked on, threw some shit together, and that was the game. It was supposed to be much better than that. Woulda, coulda, I'm not for it. I'm not for online only S games. It's a first person shooter, so that's two negatives against it right there. I'm not for that. I typically and I've tried to go back to Destiny numerous of times. Its repetitive nature does not sit well with me. And you're talking to a guy who plays RPGs and loves the grind. I love the grind. Because you know what grind is? It's another word for hoarding. And what do we know about Infamous? Infamous loves to hoard. My cousin will tell you. I like that word better. It's just not my cup of tea. I heard this and I'm like, they're trying to save face. That's how I see this as. Trying to save face to get you to come back or whatever the hell the case is. Another shot at redemption, whatever. Whatever we gonna go with this. And I ain't for it. I'm just not. Because why? Haven't y'all done enough with this damn game? Well, matter of fact, this series. Their numbers are record low right now. Record low. I'm just not for it. And I really ain't got I don't keep beating a dead horse. Because like I said, I know people gonna come in the comments. How dare you? You know, me and my best buddy, we used to play this every day out of high school and said, hey, cool. Hey, I get that. That's awesome. You have great memories for it. It worked for you. It didn't work for me. I'm gonna say this too. Bungie is not who they are. You can look this up. There are tons of reports that the leadership at Bungie is terrible. Yes, they've made some very memorable games that people are holding near and dear to their hearts, and they think like, oh, you know, that's still something great, but it really ain't. You could look up the history on how notorious the development Halo 2 was. And it came together at the last hour, but it's bad. It's bad. Hell, I think majority of the leadership has cut bait and took the money and run from PlayStation. It was like, oh, thanks, we're out. Bungie leadership is crying. Not leadership. The Bungie devs are crying. Make Destiny and Marathon not online only. Give it single player campaign options. It doesn't need to be online, and to give players what they are asking for. Traditional S game, and they're just like, no, we need to make all the money. And look how it's doing. Their numbers are at an all-time low. All-time low. People just don't care about it anymore. They have left in droves. So I'm not thrilled. And hopefully it ain't true. And if it is, I hope somebody at Sony be like, hey man, look here. You all have had time to do this, and it clearly ain't worked out for you. So let's go back to the well and try something different. Okay? All right. But that's all I got.
Well, moving on. Now, supposedly this game, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, is doing really, really, really well, and it's complete opposite from this Destiny
Mm, mm,
disaster.
mm.
The Marvel game lately. have had hit or miss quality, live service fatigue, but this game, pure old school arcade fun, hand drawn pixel art, co-op focus, no live stream live service nonsense. This feels like Marvel finally stopped chasing trends. Playable characters include Spider-Man, Wolverine, Captain America, Storm, Venom, Nova is coming is and more coming. Each character has
Mhm.
unique movie sets, team combo attacks, classic arcade style supers. Why people trust this dev team? TMNT Shredder's
TMNT,
yeah,
Revenge.
yeah, critically praised, loved by fans, and strong sales. Same exact formula: retro, tight combat, co-op chaos, fan service done right. Big risk: beat 'em ups, live or dead on enemy variety, boss fights, replayability. If the content is shadow, big hype dies fast. Jesus. Big debate question.
Oh,
Is this the
sure.
best Marvel game direction in years, or is this just a nostalgia trapped? Marvel didn't need another bloated live service game. They needed this type of game. So I guess let me ask my cousin, what do you make of this game? Is this the right direction? Is this the path that Marvel games should have always been instead of
Yeah,
that disgusting live action live service game that came out and was a total fucking disaster? Should they
yes,
continue on making games like this going forward? And
yes.
how big of sales do you think these type of games can make in 2025 and going forward?
And you asked a lot. Majority of it I got out before you could even finish. So, money, and should this be happening? I'm gonna say yes. The potential for this to make lots of money, not just with the Marvel name. It's the type of game that it is. It's I don't want to say simplistic in nature, but that's what it is. It's an old school beat 'em up, and just like TMNT Shredder's Revenge, if you're a fan of this type of genre, of this type of old school, hey, just hang with your friends, pick a character, beat 'em up, have fun, then yes, this will be successful. They have 15 characters in the game. I think half of that is already unlocked. Each player can control two people. You can swap them out, and they each have their own type of fighting styles. I played with Cosmic Ghost Rider and Iron Man. Iron Man can fly, shoot stuff, more of a projectile based character. And one of his special moves is kind of his move from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Cosmic Ghost Rider is more of a melee based type character, gets all up in there. That is the type of player that I play with, and it's good. It's good. And it comes at a time when gaming is getting super expensive. When gaming is 70s, $80, $90 deluxe edition. All this stuff going on. And it's like, yo, this is getting out of hand. It's getting too expensive. All right, here's this nice $30 game that not only can you play and enjoy, you can also play with a buddy. And then the replayability. Because you need to beat the game multiple times in order to unlock the various different characters, various different skins. Now, you can look at it and be like, oh, we know this is just nostalgia bait. And when, okay, yeah, to a degree, maybe, kind of, possibly. But hey, if Nintendo can do it, why can't anybody else? They don't own nostalgia fan service. And like I said, I played it. I put at least 10 hours into it. Me playing with me and my son. And I enjoyed it. Should they make more games like this? Are you talking about as far as beat 'em up style, or just more of the focus on the fan type of gameplay and leave the live service and the slot behind? Is that what you're asking me?
I mean, that's you kind of asking. That's the same thing. Like,
Okay.
is this? Should they make more games like this? I mean, we already
Yeah,
said that live service is just dying, and
it
it's a
is. It
yeah.
is.
So
Majority of most live service games don't last. Yes.
I mean, but how
And
much
yes,
money can games like this make? You know, because it all comes down to money at the end of the day.
so to answer that, I got to give a two-sided answer. The expectations, because I ain't gonna lie, a classic old school beam like this, you kind of hitting at a niche audience. But at the same time, if you control your spending right, then you'll earn the money right. You put $100 million something like this, you not getting that back. No matter what you add through it through DLC or what that. Now you take this game, depending on who made it. I'm pretty sure this wasn't made in house, so you're gonna pay the Marvel license fee. And if you keep the budget and scope of maybe 20-30 million dollars or whatever the hell it is, you can make some change back. You could probably get that back and double it. You probably get 50-60 million. And then who's to say what their plans are to support it? to add more levels, add more characters. Like you have the comic book slash the cartoon Wolverine in this, the from when we grew up. People care about that, and then that's hot off the heels of the Marvel Wolverine game coming out from PlayStation. So people
Mhm.
were like, oh well, while I wait on that, I can play this. There is an audience for it, but to answer your question, how much money it can make, it won't be. Oh, they got record profits. It made 400 million. It ain't gonna be that. For you to have, hey, they turned a profit and then some. Yeah, they could get that. Absolutely, I believe that. But it's all about keeping expectations. That's what I would say. They keep their expectations in check. Yes, it can be successful. Now, I didn't know this when this was coming out, and I'll give full disclosure. I played this off Game Pass, and I didn't know it was gonna be on Game Pass. So whatever was spent on it, they had already got a bag. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure in negotiations with Xbox, they was like, "Hey, we spent this amount of money, and that ain't including the license fee. You want this on day one, it as in launch. We need this. You got Steam and PC people buying it, and of course, the people on Xbox who just don't fuck with Game Pass, they'll buy it. So there's a place and time for it, and yeah, I believe it'll make money. And we're gonna play this too. I just want to let you know that we are gonna play this.
I mean, yeah, we already talked about it. I guess I was, it's always good when you see look good products like this come out. I just worry about the evilness of business hurting it and hurting what could be future titles for this game. So, but listen, I hope this game continues to sell, continue to have its good reputation and build its brand recognition, and hopefully Marvel games will continue this trend. But let us know in the comments, have you played this game? Are you getting this game? Did this game kind of catch you by surprise? Because I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really see this coming, especially after the whole last couple Marvel games disaster. So hopefully they'll keep it going moving forward. And I hope this game nothing but the best. To another game. Another one. Metro
Ugh.
Prime for First Impressions. Now, listen, we reported a couple of weeks ago about the 20-minute preview or whatever you want to call it from that one guy, and the irritations that a lot of people felt, and how a lot of people was turned off by it. Now there's been some reviews put out by IGN simping and some other people, some real people, some industry people. You can kind of tell when you're listening to either one, because they kind of have strong reactions to certain things that's very, very irritating, or very, very like, like what the fuck is this? But let's go through some of the things that's being praised about the game. Visuals, like we said in the last video, this should look good if you're playing on a Switch 2. Supposedly on Switch 1, it doesn't look as good. That's to be expected. It's an older system. And they said though it might not look as good as on the Switch 2, it does run pretty stable. And that is very crucial, because I thought this game would run like shit on the Switch 1. And that's still up for debate. I've only like watched and reviewed and looked at a few people's gameplay. Like the game just came out 2 days ago as of this recording. So there's a lot more that could come out. But visuals shockingly clean for Switch hardware. Massive jump from Metro Prime remasters. Tone is dark. Classic Prime isolation is back, quote unquote, in some cases. Feels heavy, sci-fi, lonely, intense. Gameplay highlights classic first person exploration, new psychic style powers teased, faster and more aggressive combat. Enemy AI looks smarter. World design feels bigger, more visual, more dangerous. And why does this game hit different? This game was announced in 2017. Oh my god. It was scrapped, then fully rebooted under the Retro Studio. Fans waited 7+ years. Expectations were sky high. And the real, in some cases, in some people, actually was delivered. Real concern. Still no, we haven't really got enough evidence contents put out. Will it hold at 60 frames per second consistently? Will it run better on the Switch 2? I think that's already been answered. Nintendo is staying quiet. They haven't really, I don't know, put out a lot of numbers for this game yet, which, my cousin made a good point, because we talked about this offline line, Metroid Prime games or Metroid is not one that's Nintendo's biggest selling IPs. You know, it's kind of like a cult classic, a cult favorite. You know, it had this little area of fans, and you know, you I guess I mean it's evidence because the game this IP does not come out as regular as like a Mario or Legend of Zelda game. Hell, even Donkey Kong I think gets more releases than Metroid. You know, listen, I just have one issue, and I haven't played the game. I'm just gonna be frank because I said, you know, I don't really support Nintendo and stuff they're doing with the Switch 2 or anything. Nintendo doesn't get my funds. Like I repeatedly said, I'm pessimistic, I'm jaded. Nintendo sells you the same shit rinsefully. But I will say maybe this is a big enough upgrade for the people that was waiting 7+ years. For me personally, it is not. This game has 15 hours of gameplay and you charged me $70. Who the fuck do you think you are? that's that's just I don't know. I don't think that's enough value for the 7+ years. You only put out 15 hours of gameplay, and 3 of those hours can be time padded because you have to drive around a empty open world desert for those little green crystals, which is kind of what the fuck? Like, that's how you know those are the certain things where you be like, oh, they padding the time. Because I think if this was released at 10 hours of actual gameplay, maybe that would have got people more upset. But listen, I think 15 at $70 is still outrageous. A lot of people have came out and said that the talking sidekick people that you get with, you know, they're not as bad as it was portrayed in that 20 minutes. You know, they do partner up with you. They do talk to Samus, even though Samus doesn't say shit back. And but they leave you alone. And there's part of the map where you don't even, you know, you lose complete comms with them. So you still have that lonely, alone exploration time away from side characters. So that listen, I'm happy for that. But it's just not enough for me personally. Like I said, I was waiting. I remember seeing the trailer in 2017, Nothing But the Name. I was like, hell yeah, can't wait to get it. But that was back in 2017. Now in 2025, you know, Nintendo, I just don't have the best relationship with Nintendo in 2025, so therefore I don't support them. But I wanted this game to be great just because I've played Metroid in the past. I've had a lot of fun in Metroid. Samus is my spirit, not spirit animal, but spirit game character because I am heavily antisocial. I don't like talking to people or strangers. So, you know, she embodied a lot of things that I actually do in life. So that's why I love Metroid. It kind of gave me the gameplay I like to play back when I was younger, but I don't think this is a big enough jump. I know a lot of people are probably going to complain and say, "Oh, yes, it is. It looks beautiful." And but I'm like, yo, the amount of time it took to push this game out, it could have been more. Like if it would have been like 28 hours, you know, 25 hours of gameplay, then cool. But maybe that's an unrealistic expectation from a Switch game. And you know, that's fine. Hey, that's why I don't put money in Nintendo because it just doesn't give me the value that I'm looking for. And like my cousin has said, I'm very frugal with money and what I choose to give my money to when it comes to this gaming industry because they can be very, very, very nasty in how they manipulate people to pay all this money for a game that was never worth that price tag. And I don't think this is worth the $70 price tag, but I'm not going to continue on. I'm going to let my cousin go, but that's how I feel after seeing other people's impressions of the game. A lot of people some people are saying, "Hey, this is a good enough. This is good enough. It's okay. It's good for what it is. Take it for what it is and have fun while you play." While others say it ain't enough and it's not good enough and you should not pay $70 for this game. So there is very much tied. It's not like one side is overpowering the other when I was researching this. It's kind of split in the middle. But I mean, Nintendo make money either way because on both sides people have bought this game, which is what all they care about. And you know, we'll see. We'll see, but I'll let my cousin go.
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't got a lot of shit to say about that. You already know how I feel about first person games, and you already know how I feel about the value versus hours of content versus dollars. I have
But
played it. I have played it. It is a very nice looking ass game.
oh yeah, it look good.
I will not fault them on that. It is a nice ass game. And like my cousin has stated, the Metroid series is not a serious or multi-million selling series for Nintendo. It is not a Zelda. It damn sure ain't no Mario. It is none of those. And even though there is a we'll say fan base to not insult y'all, even though there is a fan base for these games, either you all are not showing up enough in droves to buy these when they come out, or what? Because you can look at the numbers for the Metroid Prime series as a whole. And in a lot of y'all.
Well,
And a lot of y'all.
okay,
Now,
hold on,
nearly
hold on,
two.
hold on, hold on.
Mhm.
Because even Metroid is split. Their fan base is kind of split because there's the 2D, and then there's this kind of style
There's,
was the
there's,
first person.
yeah,
So there.
I was about to say that. That's what I was about to
Oh,
say.
okay, okay, okay.
There's two fan bases for these. Now, true Metroid lovers are of the side-scrolling 2D game, the original on the NES and all that. I ain't even gonna get into it because I'm not big on. And then when the GameCube came, they tried to do something different. They made the Metroid Prime games. As far as I know, there's only 4 Prime games. It's in the number. There are more of the side-scrolling games, and even then, yeah, it took nearly 10 years for this. But if I recall, with Metroid Dread that came on the Switch, took a long time to come out as well. That was supposed to be a 3DS title that eventually that just went nowhere, and people were thinking like, "Yo, is this vaporware to get canceled?" I would have to say Nintendo does not have the faith in this franchise as their core audience does. Hence, why this was probably phoned in the way it was. You play the game, she's a complete silent protagonist, and I already know people will say, she does not talk. That's how the other games work. Yes, I get that, but it seems like the people who made the game either they forgot or what, because you have people flat out talking to her. Like, they're not just talking, as they're moving along. They flat out are talking to her, and she says nothing, or you get a helmet nod, and it's like, that open world, the open space, and choose my words correctly, desert part, yo, I don't know whose idea it was to make that a thing for the game. Because that's not what this is. It feels like they were making it how it was supposed to be. Stopped it, took it away from, I can't remember who's making it, gave it back to Retro, and was like, yo, you need to make this for a modern audience. Give them what they like, but add, just a little pizzazz and flair. There was no need for that motorcycle. There was no need for the open world. There's no need for none of that. And the majority of the collectibles, or aka power-ups, you get throughout the game, they're kind of, if not the same, or just slightly touched up from the shit you used to get from the other ones. Me personally, I feel this game was announced, and somewhere along the line, Nintendo probably felt like, hey man, fuck this game. But someone in marketing, or not marketing, someone in legal was like, hey, you announced this, and people probably bought systems based off of this. You don't follow through, we may have legal issues. Just throw some shit out, just to appease you all. Because like I said, it took nearly 10 years. And I believe the only reason it is on the Switch is because the original, let me clarify that. The original Switch is to make sure they don't get hit with false advertisement. Because that's what it was announced on. Before the Switch 2 was a thought, even in concept. This was announced for the Switch. To me, it's just subpar. It's 15 hours. And even though, some people are like, hey, shorter games, etc. And I'm all for shorter games. Shorter price tags. 15 hours does not equate to $70. And I know some Nintendo fans are like, well, hey, I only want to hear it. I'm not going to be nice right now. I don't want to hear it because we can go to the conversation with you all are the same people that'll swear up and down GTA 6 to be $100 because of the content you're going to get in it. All right, stand by your words. If you're going to pay based on content, then this should be $20 then. If it's 15 hours of gameplay, it's a subpar game. Now, controls feel nice. It's a very nice graphic game. But me personally, I didn't care about that. I was waiting on Metroid Prime 2 and 3 to be remastered. So right now, you got one remaster on the market, and then you got Metroid Prime 4. Where's 2 and 3 at? Even though I've heard from people 2 and 3 is a little hit or miss, a little controversial. But to me, it's a subpar game. And you're going to have motherfuckers thinking this is the best thing since sliced bread, another Nintendo masterpiece a la Breath of the Wild, and I'm just going to say, stop it, go sit down. And then they're even so bold to say, oh, it's not a first-person shooter. It's a first-person adventure. Hey, man, look here, we're not going to mince words. It is what it is. It's a first-person game, and you are shooting
It
stuff.
it
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 is a first-person shooter.
switches. It switches.
Okay. Okay,
I
I'm done
mean,
here.
listen, you turn into the
I'm not gonna
ball.
play
You
these
turn into the
games.
ball. That's not first person. I mean, you do quote unquote switch. But
You switch on the Switch.
the main point, yes, when you're actually actively playing, it is mostly in first person. But
If this
yeah,
was,
maybe
if this
if this would
was
have came out in 2019, no one would have batted an eye, and I think that's the
if this
biggest
would have
thing.
came out in 2020 or 21 at the height of the COVID, and it would have got an explosion, kind of like Animal Crossing Horizon, it might be telling a different story. And I don't see how this took almost 10 years. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna scrap that. I'm gonna stop saying the 10 years because from 2019 to now, that is 6 years. So we're gonna go with that because from the 2017 thing, it was with one other studio and they pulled it and rebooted
Yeah.
it. So I'm gonna give it that. 6 years. I'm gonna give it that. If it came out a different time, we probably may have different expectations of it. But Nintendo, this is a Nintendo phone. Nintendo has set the bar high for their products. The quote unquote Nintendo seal of quality and all that. That's on them. They
And
have done this.
$70 price tag. Shit.
And then you all already know Infamous will buy some shit. It goes on sale, gets cheap enough. Therein lies another problem. Because this is a Nintendo first party game, it ain't fucking gonna go on sale. So in 5 years from now, when someone is buying a Switch 2 and someone like, oh yeah, you should play this game, it's still gonna be 70 motherfucking dollars. Just like how they still want $60 for Breath of the Wild on the first Switch. Now, $80 for it on Switch 2.
Oh
I'm done.
yeah, they wildin'. Yeah, Nintendo has been wildin' with their price tags. I listen. It's just the biggest gripe I have about this game is that it came out way too late. I feel like it should have came out 5 years ago. We probably would have praised it a lot more. And the fact that this is not worth $70, not 15 hours. Like it's just it ain't enough for me. And it could be for some other people. Maybe the younger generation will like this. Some kids or maybe, but who grew up on Metroid and who had actually saw or seen when this was first announced in 2017. I don't think this is enough for most of us that watched that 2017 announcement. It's just unfortunate because like I keep saying, if this game would have came out during COVID or 2019, I would have overlooked the 15 hours of gameplay. I would have been like, all right, whatever. But then too, Nintendo wasn't charging as much for their games then as they are now. So it's just an insult to injury. I think Nintendo didn't really do good by this product. And it's probably never gonna go on sale. And it just is what it is. It's just not enough, and it has not been worth the wait. You would think if a game took this amount of time, Nintendo would make it worth it. They keep trying to cheap out on the production of these games. Yeah, this feels like a little sidekick project that Nintendo is just like, okay, put it out. And I think that's very reflective on the reviews from real people, not IGN, because IGN just simped and Jesus. And it's supposedly this has mouse support, and from what everything I've seen, the mouse support feels disgusting and is irrelevant to the controls. So yeah, look, if I had to get a letter grade, it's a fucking F for me. Too long, too expensive, not enough content, some bloated content in there that it makes no sense. It's like they tried to put open world concepts from their Legend of Zelda games, but Legend of Zelda, though it was semi, maybe not as much content in their free world, it was done way, way earlier, years ago, and it just looks like this was a copy and paste, and they didn't update the concept of their open world, and it was kind of unnecessary. Listen, I can go on and on, but look, it's an F for me, and that's all I got. Yeah, but that wraps up the show. The big news was of Netflix and Warner Brothers purchase, and then the Cyberpunk 2 announcement, Destiny 3 rumors, the Marvel Invasion game, and of this Metroid Prime 4 release. So you got any comments, any thoughts, or any disagreements with what we reported today? We're just here to bring you the news, guys, but let us know in the comments below how you feel about any of the topics we went over this week's on episode 12. Yeah, episode 12. But until next week, we'll see you then, and we're out.
And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, Are You Not Entertained?